My name is Chris Felder. I hadn't planned on speaking on this. I wasn't even aware that this was scheduled for today, but I'm wiggling in my seat here. This is really hard to sit still while I'm hearing this. I wanted to kind of lend to what Representative Bartleman was saying, that like just to be suspicious, to ask you to do more research, to ask the Department of Revenue how they do things. I mean, I can speak right away that Department of Revenue doesn't impute anything. They have no authority to do anything. They're involved in the process, but it's the court, it's the judge that determines whether or not there's going to be an imputation. If somebody cannot afford to pay what they've been imputed, it's very quickly a felony. The punishments are automatic. They very quickly lose their driver's license. They very quickly have their personal property levied. They very quickly have their bank accounts seized. Very quickly, you're put on the do not fly list for being a flight risk. There are very, very heavy penalties associated with this. And so I do consider myself an expert in this area, so that's why again, I'd be remiss if I didn't speak up. Tax credits do not play at all into how these calculations are done. And I would question, when one parent is already below 200% of the poverty line, that increasing the rate or the amount that the other parent is paying. I'd love to see the effect on whether or not now both parents are living below 200% of the poverty line. So what I would add, I'm sorry, I'm certainly not going to read all my notes. As you question whether or not this is the way to handle things going forward, I believe Dr. Norbin mentioned that these calculations haven't been changed since 1993. I don't believe there's any reason why, since 1993, nobody's done a study to find out if it's working, what is the impact on families, how we're doing things. I'm very familiar with the federal law, and it says essentially what the minimum threshold is, and I agree, we're meeting the minimum threshold. There's nothing to say that we can't add to this. And I know, well, for one, I'd like to see the opinions of the sister offices at, or departments at FSU that are involved in early childhood development, in gender studies, in sociology, in criminology. Things have changed significantly in this state and in this country since 1993. We have the benefit of research. Let's apply it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Chris Feldner, I want you to introduce. Felder. Go ahead and identify yourself.
My name is Chris Felder. I'm a single father in Sarasota, Florida.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Rep. Roach has a question for you, I think. Yep.
Sir, thank you again, Chairman, for your latitude and offering me a chance to ask so many questions today. Mr. Felder, thank you for that. And, you know, I understand, and I don't think it's lost on the committee that, you know, the Department of Revenue really has, it's the courts and the legislature that are, you know, setting up the framework here. But one thing I wanted to just come back on what you said, and again, this is not to impugn sort of your motives or your purpose for being here today, but it's my opinion really that there is no penalty too strong when people fail to meet their obligations and push those children that they're responsible for onto the taxpayer. So I think, I can't think of any reason why they shouldn't be on a no-fly list, why they shouldn't have their bank accounts garnished, why they shouldn't have their property seized. Did you take opposition with those steps to ensure people pay for their children?
No, I was just bringing that up as it relates to imputing when somebody has no income. And then I'll add that the legislation as well as the Child Support Services guidelines are very different. They're not congruent. In fact, it says in the Child Support Guidelines Handbook that if somebody is involuntarily or involuntarily unemployed or underemployed, you're supposed to take their actual income and apply it to the child support. So I just mean to bring up that it's really important, I think, that you see how these guidelines and how it really works. Because when you're really out there, it's very different than what I think your perspective is just looking at something black and white. I appreciate when you're looking at legislation, you're saying, there's the guideline, it seems clear enough. But out there in the real world, and that's in fact what I came here to speak about, it is not being applied correctly. It is not being applied evenly. And it's hurting a lot of people. So yes, when in a scenario where a parent is imputed and they're being asked to pay child support, I'll give you a quick example. Under Title 4D, if that parent is involuntarily unemployed, he or she is entitled to go to the Department of Revenue and request an immediate change or a modification to their parenting plan. I tell you right now, the Department of Revenue does not do that. It's required by federal law and state law. Doesn't get done. And so it is punishing.
That's good perspective. I appreciate it because I'm not as familiar with this as I would like to be. Thank you.
I'd like to give Dr. Norton, did you want to respond to any of that? I give you the opportunity. You don't have to, but thank you for being here, and thank you, Dr. Norman. And I encourage the members, this is just a beginning point, so any issues that we may need to resolve in the future. And I think what we'll do is move on. Thank you so much. Appreciate your input, and who knows, maybe we'll see you in 4 years. Well, I won't be here, but maybe some of you will.